Hey everybody, this is Ryan from the Breaking Bad show, and we're excited to have you back for another episode. This week, we're going to be joined by our guest, Cheryl POLDRUGACH. Cheryl is also known across social media platforms as Cheryl Panics, and she's going to share on the show why she goes by that name. Now, this week, we're going to talk about an issue that might be a little sensitive to some people, and that's the topic of panic and anxiety. And this is a topic that Cheryl suffered with for approximately 20 years of her life. And we here at the show think many of us suffer from this, only we're more apt to deal with it and suffer with it than we are to go and get help and talk about it. So on the show, Cheryl's going to talk a lot about how she was able to learn to manage and conquer her panic and anxiety and really be able to get her life back and live her best self. And we're going to share a lot on the show today about why it's important and almost healing to be able to talk about it when we're experiencing it and not keep it to ourselves. So on that note, Chad and I just want to make sure that we let everybody know that we're here to serve you. So if you're having any issues or having any thoughts or anything resonates you on the show that you want to talk about, we just want to make sure that you all know that we're here for you to reach out to, as well as any of our guests that we have on are always available to reach out to for any advice or help you may want to get. That's what we're here to do at the Breaking Bad show, is to serve. And hopefully we do that with this episode. This is the Breaking Bad show. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Breaking Bad show. I'm Ryan. Chad is with me.
What's up, everybody?
We are excited to bring to you today's guest, Cheryl POLDRUGACH. And Cheryl, I hope I did okay with that name. I know we practiced it before I came on, but I apologize. So Cheryl told me when just before we started that she goes by Cheryl Panics, and she's going to share about why she goes by that in a couple minutes. But just to introduce Cheryl, she's a connection of both Chad and mine on LinkedIn. She has a background in marketing and communications. She worked as a journalist in the past as well. And what we're really excited to hear about is how she recently founded Panic Aid, which she developed to help people that are struggling with anxiety and panic. So, Cheryl, welcome to the show. Why don't you start off and give us a little background about you, who you are, and what led you to what you're doing now?
Very short version. First of all, so excited to be here with you guys. Huge fan. Just, regular old person, and around 18, I started having panic attacks. Really no rhyme or reason. They just snuck up out of nowhere and smacked me down. And I let it control my life for most of my life, to be perfectly honest, because I didn't know any better. And long story short, a couple of years ago, had some kids starting to have panic attacks and anxiety, starting at that 14, 15-year-old range when mental health actually starts rearing its ugly head. That's the age it starts, is between 14 and 21. So didn't want them to be on prescriptions like Xanax or Klonopin or Buspirone. I wanted something natural that wasn't going to drug them out, that they could take with them. So took life savings, retirement, took everything, and worked diligently. And we found a group of ingredients, which is a huge group, I might add. There's a lot of stuff in Anxiety Aid, and it's put it in a 2-ounce shot. It can go with you when you travel, in your purse, wherever. Well, not that y'all have purses, but wherever you are, you can have it with you. And it's a liquid because it kicks in. It's bioavailable within 5 to 7 minutes. Some people 10. Brings you down.
Wow,
That's
quick.
That's the quickest Cheryl, story, so to speak.
Right. If I can interject real quick, Cheryl, hey, thanks for being on. Loved having you on because, and I know we're going to get into some questions, but I just want to interject based on what you said, because Cheryl, I got connected to Cheryl through Ernie Stevens, and Cheryl sent me 2 bottles of Panic Aid, and I was experiencing really bad anxiety starting in December. Ryan and I talked about that in the show, and I was really reluctant to go on medication, and they were giving me lorazepam and Xanax, all things that calm me down, temporary in the moment, but that's not a long-term solution. So anyway, Cheryl sent me these 2 bottles, these Panic Aid, and I took one, and I gave one to my mother-in-law, who also has crippling anxiety. But Cheryl's right, within I think 10 minutes for me, it hit, and it just brought me down. Just the manicness. I mean, I was literally pacing around my house with like extended fingers, very manic episode, very paranoid of what's going on, lost a little dissociation. It was really bad. And yeah, so that really works. And I'm going to definitely be getting more. So I know it's not a sales pitch, but if you're out there and you have anxiety, it works.
And Ernie will tell you this, because I love Ernie as well. I'm not doing it to become some, great if God gets it that and it makes money, great. But that wasn't my reason why I did it, or why I do it still. Is I just want to help the person who's, like you said, I mean, they're just not in a good place, and they just need that immediate bring me down, but not with the drugs that make you, the prescription drugs that can be addictive, that can make you just knocked out where you're not experiencing life, kind of thing. So that's a big part of my life is my product, but it's more so just making it okay to talk about it, because they say it's destigmatized, and that's a lie from the pit of hell. It's not. People still look at you funny. You're bipolar, you're schizophrenic, you're depressed, you're suicidal, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. People still go, yeah, be careful of them, and it's not true. We're not all in the same bucket. So
you're right.
So that's a huge thing, especially in policing, is that we don't want to talk about it. We don't even want to admit we have a problem, and we suffer, and it leads in a lot of different ways. It mounts up, it builds. So what was it, or what led to you to finally make a decision that you said, I'm not going to deal with this anymore. I've had enough. I'm doing something about this, and I'm moving forward and addressing this?
Ooh, that's a heavy question. First, let me say, because I'm actually studying to get my mental health coaching license. So I have great new information, but it takes the average person 11 years from sight of first experience in something, whether it's anxiety, depression, whatever it is, to actually get help. That is a huge gap of life. And mine was actually longer than that, because I'm old school, I'm Italian, so I'm very submissive personality as it is, although people will not believe that when they oh, you're so cool. Yes, that's me, but in all reality, that's not me. So I let it rule my life, which is the God honest truth, for a good solid 20 plus years. And I finally got help like 5+ years ago. I actually went to a psychiatrist because, like everybody, I thought I was going to end up in a straitjacket like this, and being locked up somewhere because I'm crazy, So that's one big reason I didn't say anything. But what's funny is 1 out of 4 people are crazy. So I mean, that's like 70% of the population when you think about it. I mean, more people have mental health issues than diabetes, heart disease, all of those things, but they get help. Why don't we get help? So it was just a culmination of everything. I was so sick of living in a bubble. I would never go out to eat. I wouldn't go to an event was difficult. For my job, I could, because I had something to do that I was busy in my work job. I didn't have to worry about talking to people on my own merits. I could segregate my brain and put on a show. Like going to work, you could segregate your brain and go, okay, I'm here to do this job. But inside you're like fighting every minute to just keep it together. So finally went and got tested and did brain scans, and been going to counseling for 3+ years now. Best thing I ever did for myself. able to dig through and kind of figure out what I need to do. And I'd take medication every day. Every day, twice a day, in the morning and at night. And that was a journey as well. Finding the right meds. That is like a whole entire process in itself. But the combination of all of it is, I mean, I actually have flown in a plane recently, and I'm going to again in 2 weeks. And I go out to restaurants, and these are things that seem like nothing to so many people. To me, life-changing.
Yeah, I'm listening to you say that, and I'm just thinking, and I know Ryan and I talk about this from the first responder perspective, that, and I was just talking to a police officer the other day of they have anxiety every day going into work. And when they purposely leave their house early to get to work early so they can sit in their car and calm down before they walk in every day. And that is no way to live. And so when you were saying that about people who are leaving their house or afraid to fly, I mean, these are people that are doing this every day, and they're afraid to bring it up or talk about it. And we need to bring more awareness and break the stigma that, it's okay. It doesn't mean you're damaged goods. It doesn't mean you're broke. I resisted medication for years and years, and just started, Zoloft recently because I thought, I had some irrational or improper bias about it that I didn't really understand it. And I didn't want to, the mantra of getting addicted to anything. I didn't want any of that stuff, but I'm learning a lot as I go along. So I appreciate you saying that, because there's a lot of people I think that have it like me, that I had it and thought there's something wrong with me. It's just, you have to figure out how to get through that situation.
We've all been there, and I remember how addressing it allowed me to step into the person that I wanted to be and I wanted to become. And I felt like all of a sudden it gave me a life back that I had lost over several years, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm. I love that you said that, because it's true. It's like, my oldest son is 25, but I have younger children, and they get that Cheryl that isn't scared, if that makes sense. It's a completely different, it changes a lot of things in your life when you face it like that, and you just finally say, I don't care. You either like it or leave it, but this is who I am. And I'm moving forward like that. And that's all right. Or there's really no reason to even say anything. So yeah, no, it changed my life, and it's changed a lot of people around me, because I talk to people all the time who go, I had no idea. Cause I thought I was dying. A panic attack is life-changing. It's altering. And I never wanted another one, and anything I could do to avoid it, by God, I wasn't going to piss it off and make it rear its ugly head. I was going to, but you know what? There's no rhyme or reason to panic attacks. You could be calm, chilling at home, and those things will just go bam. And you're hanging from, you're in the fetal position on the floor, just praying to God not to die. So I've learned a lot about the process.
Yeah. My wife, she has really bad anxiety too. She's had it for years. So I've watched her go through it before I started to have that symptoms, and I didn't understand. I didn't relate to her. I didn't understand. I look back, I kind of feel bad some of the judgments I have, because I just didn't understand it. And she would always say, it's irrational and illogical fear. I was fine. I said, what's bothering you? She goes, nothing. I said, well, there has to be something bothering you that brought this on. And she goes, you don't understand. It came out of nowhere. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. And it's just it's a naive way to look at it, because I couldn't relate to her until I started experiencing. I'm like, wow, I was feeling fine. I was watching a movie. Halfway through the movie, I got chest pains, tightness in the chest, couldn't breathe, started getting disassociated. I'm like, what is going on? I had to start pacing around my house. It was so manic. I had to keep my body moving. I had to take my mind. And it wasn't until I went through that I realized this can be debilitating to a lot of people. And how many people are living out there dealing with it every day and aren't doing anything about it. And Cheryl, having you on is just a breath of fresh air, I think, for a lot of these people that are going to watch us and make some changes into their life.
And I have to say this real quick. What you're doing and I'm doing, us talking about it takes the fear out of that panic. Ever since I started talking about panic attacks and what they feel like and how I've experienced it, has given me a little bit of my power back. Not that I don't have panic attacks anymore, but it's different. I'm not terrified of having them. It's almost like, okay, now I'm going to try to use all these things I've learned and give a little bit of my life back. So I'm glad you guys are doing this. It's important.
One thing I definitely want to ask, and this is, Chad and I love presenting this aspect to people, to our listeners, is, a big focus of our show. What we do is is helping police officers that are at the point where they want to leave the profession to find the courage to do so and find the passion to that they want to follow. So one thing that really struck a chord with me in your intro was that you necessarily put it all out on the line. You mentioned you took your retirement, all your savings, and you went all in to create the product that you created, which I find amazing because not many people have the courage to do something like that. And it's what holds a lot of police officers back. So would you mind telling us about the process of your decision making, and what led you to be able to have that courage to say, I'm doing this and I am plowing forward because I know this is going to be amazing?
Okay, first of all, that's a very, I don't have the mindset, like I hold myself back. Let me just say that. Yes, I went all in and I did it, but I'm a little over 2 years in, and I've held myself back, meaning I should be in stores by now. I should be doing so much more, but I was so cognizant of I wanted it to work more than I wanted to sell it. So when you put your passion before the dollar signs, that was what the difference was for me. My initial starting it wasn't like, I'm going to make this product that no one else has done before and I'm going to be a millionaire. That wasn't what primed me and gave me my ballsiness to do what I did. It was like, okay, if this can help me, and as well as my kids, first and foremost, I mean, 3 of my 4 kids use the product. Some take the sleep version, some take the pant, but they, 3 are still in school, high school, middle school, or the breakdown. And half their friends take it too. And that gives me life. That's what I wanted. I wanted to give people an option to not have to take a prescription. And then once I got into it and I started to learn more about the different ingredients and how magnesium and ashwagandha and GABA and L-theanine and valerian root, like all of them work together in one drink, as opposed to, take an ashwagandha pill or take a GABA pill or take a magnesium supplement. This is not for like everyday use. I'm going to be calm today. That's not why I made it. I made it for when it hits and you need 911. Like I need to calm down where I'm at right now. That's was its purpose. And I didn't even know if it'd work when I started, to be honest, but because it meant that much to me, it was worth the gamble.
You hit the nail on the head by saying it was a passion that you had, and that's what gave you the courage to explore that and to move forward. I think that's huge, is being able to find that why. That's just so many of us get into police work and law enforcement for that why, and we lose that passion, right, which makes us miserable, but we stay for the paycheck, we stay for the pension. Whereas if we can learn how to find that next passion, that next why, it gives us a reason to leave, something else to pursue, something more positive effect that we can have on the world than we might feel like we're having as police officers.
Whether it's in their daily job and the people that they help being their passion, then maybe it's a new breath of life, realizing that's their passion. And maybe they start to, I don't know, tell stories or help them or, find them, just be that gatekeeper, because so many people go to, their clergy or the police when they're having mental health issues. That's like their first phone call or their first experience. And being that person and knowing you helped someone, I mean, that could be very, fulfilling for somebody. So, I mean, I have the highest, utmost respect for what you guys did do for police officers in general. And I think that you guys take on a lot more than people realize.
The community calls police for every issue in the world. And that's, it's unfortunate that expectations, I think, are off of the community. The police have a lot of burden on them, and a lot of police officers just have a high school diploma. They're not trained in mental health. They're not trained in domestic violence. We go to these, 1-day refresher courses, and now we're on a domestic trying to help a battered spouse who's been chronically abused for years, and we're supposed to have the answers. And it's hard to do that. And that's why I got turned on Ernie and Joe in 2019. Because I always had a passion to do more to help people. And I didn't like the way we do things in law enforcement. And, we pick people up that have mental health disorders and we drop them off at the next town over so we don't have to deal with it. And that's not helping anybody. That's not solving the problem. And so naturally I just started to investigate, what other methods are out there. And that's how I got turned on to that documentary. And then it kind of
Ernie and Joe did something different in their profession that included their passion.
Totally.
And that's what led me to them. So I love that you said that, because going back, there's still that stigma. I mean, my husband's bipolar schizophrenic. Now, do I want to, beat the crap out of him? Sometimes, of course, that's like anyone who's married. You get angry with your spouse. That's just life. But I look at it differently, obviously, because I get mad at the disease. And as long as he's taking his meds, very key with that type of mix. I can see where if a police officer was called where they're bipolar schizophrenic, then they're wrong. They need to go to jail. They need to be in, a facility. There's a lot that goes with that because people don't understand.
So, Cheryl, what would your recommendations be for a police officer who is in that situation where they have that growing and mounting anxiety and panic that's starting to grow, where they have to get to work early and calm themselves down in the, before they go into work. I can remember being at the point where I'd drive off in the cruiser somewhere and sit somewhere where I'd hope no one would find me. And I would hope that I wouldn't get a call so I could just sit and chill out. What would your recommendations be to a police officer who may be listening, who's in that situation right now?
The first thing I can say is, man, woman, whatever, don't run from it. Doesn't make you less than. Doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're less than. You're not manly enough. You're not whatever, womanly enough, whatever the person is. It is not gauge who you are. It is just what it is, which is anxiety or panic or whatever. And it could be tied to something you're not even thinking about. So I would say, first of all, don't be scared to admit it. And I'd go to a counselor, and one that you would trust. Just to throw up the information feels good. Just to be able to give that burden that you've been holding on to someone else and go, okay, I'm afraid to go over overpasses. This is true with Cheryl here. I would get so scared if there was traffic and I was stuck. Like, what do I do? How do I get out of this? And I would freak out. So being able to talk about that with my counselor, like being able to look back and explain that, I thought that was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, no one would understand this, but they're all pieces of what my anxiety got so far gone because I didn't address it in the beginning. It grows and it becomes worse and affects more parts of your life. So I would say, as soon as it starts, nip it in the bud. Look in the mirror. This is the hard part, and admit you need help. And that doesn't make you less than, because that was the hardest thing. I mean, even though I'm old school, New York Italian, I'm strong because I have brothers and they beat me and taught me as such. Like, you take care of your stuff yourself. And I couldn't take care of that. And my family didn't understand, which I could see. I would be sure a lot of their families wouldn't understand, because, here you are, you're this police, you deal with all this stuff. How can you be having anxiety? That didn't make any sense. So no one else has to know. You have to be able to do that for yourself, and just go to talk to someone. And like I said, and this has nothing to do with meds, just being able to talk about it and deal with that feeling and just go, okay, so I know when it's starting to come on. And for those who have it, when it's coming on, you can feel it. The mind starts racing. You start getting all these thoughts, and then it starts to pound up bigger, to where you're having a hard time pushing it down. And it starts to affect everything that you're doing. And you just need to face it. You need to go get help and know that you're more of a person, bigger of a person, stronger of a person than you ever imagined by doing that than not doing that. And I know that sounds like just words, but it's true, because it takes a lot to have the balls to go in and say, I need help. I can't do it alone anymore. Where you might be able to do it alone, but you're not going to end up in a good place. And you're going to not live life. You're going to miss a lot of life that you're going to have a lot of regrets about, because that's exactly I'm going to be 55, and I basically lost my 30s and most of my 40s and half my 20s because I was too proud to go, get help.
Looking at it, not with the stigma on it, but as a health issue, like, just as you were talking, I was comparing it to, if we were at the point where our foot hurt, that it was giving us trouble walking around, we'd go to the doctor and figure out what we had to do to fix it.
Right.
Why would we not do that with our mental health?
It's still stigmatized, just like I said earlier. I mean, I know there's a few celebrities that come out, but they're glorified for it. But I'm Joe Blow. I don't got no glory if I say something. I'm just some, bloke who just needed to go get some help. But you're right. When I looked at it as 1 in 4 people have a mental illness, whatever that is, and it takes 11 years for us to get help. Hello. And there's more of us, meaning people who fight mental health issues, than there is people fighting diabetes, cancers, heart disease, everything. We're the largest population, but we're the ones who don't get help, which makes no sense. So you're absolutely right. We need to look at it. It is a health issue like anything else, and it does not make us less than.
I love when you were talking, because my first reaction, Cheryl, I was just really proud of you. I was smiling listening to you talk, because I just always attracted to authentic people. I think that's where we get inspiration from. And I love you said the celebrity. You and I aren't celebrities. Ryan's not a celebrity. Most of us aren't celebrities. The far majority of us aren't. So we need to connect to each other and share with each other. You can still be a high achiever and have a great family and have success and be happy and feel grateful and all these things without having a celebrity status. So those are the people we need to draw inspiration from, because those are people that are walking our shoes every day. And I'm just proud of you that, for so many people that never get to where you're at. I know you said you lost all your 30s, but you still got there. And I think so many people, I know some people, I'm thinking off the top of my head, they're in their 60s, are still living this unfulfilled, anxious lifestyle because they have not embraced it the way you have, and then also now been open and vulnerable about it. So I think it's great.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you a question, because I didn't know the symptoms of what anxiety was. And I'll tell you, my first panic attack was in 2014, I believe. And I kind of want to walk you through this real quick and then get your take on it. But I was a detective then. I was somebody came in and turned in a cell phone. They believed it was related to child porn. We got a search warrant for it. I searched the phone. And there were some images and videos on there of child abuse and sexual abuse, and it was graphic. I had a 18-month-old daughter or 20-month-old daughter at the time. So I come home and I'm changing her diaper. It was a poopy diaper, and trying to be a hands-on dad. So I'm doing it. But that triggered me, just cleaning her down there, to what I just saw at work. And it caused me a tightness in my chest. I started to sweat. I couldn't breathe. I'm laying on my back, looking up at my ceiling, wondering what's wrong with me, trying to tell myself, suck it up. What's wrong with you? Come on, push through. I had no idea. I didn't even know what the symptoms were. I didn't even know what anxiety or panic attack was. And I know there's probably a lot of first responders out there that are like that, or people that are out there so what are some of the symptoms or commonalities that you have found or experienced that maybe somebody has that's watching it saying, oh man, maybe I have anxiety or anxiety disorder, panic attack?
First of all, you put together the pieces so much better than most can. Like, you immediately knew, okay, I saw this earlier and now I'm with my daughter. There's some kind of connection that snapped. But for a lot of people, it is so random. There is no connection to understand the why. And a lot of us had things happen in our childhood that we may have forgotten, pushed out of our minds, that they come up, like that came up and smack us in our face when we don't expect it. But some commonalities. Everyone experiences panic attacks and anxiety attacks, similar but different. Some people, it's all usually this, but the biggest overriding thing I've noticed is that out of control feeling, that inability to control yourself to get out of that attack. That is the most common thing I've noticed. But can't breathe, can't swallow, throwing up. A lot of people pass out from them. That shaking, the cold sweat, where it makes, like literally dripping sweat, but you're cold and shaking. There's a lot of different pieces, but the inability to calm your own down is the worst part of it, because your body, you're not in control of your own body. It's got its own mind and it ain't going with you. That is the biggest and most crippling common experience with anyone who's got it. And when it happens once, you think you're good, but once you have that one, like you had in 2014, you said,
Yeah,
you don't ever forget it. And they come back, because once you've had the one, that's it. Your
true.
body's like, screw you, baby. I got you. And I'm coming back, because we didn't solve anything by having that one. We just wanted to get out of it and knew we didn't want it again. And a lot of people go to all these doctors to figure out what's wrong with me. And I did that. I spent tons of money, blood work, brain, you name it. What is this? Why can't, I mean, what happened to me? Never went to the right doctor. Had nothing to do with physical.
You know, what's funny is you said that. So in 2015, I believe, I'm out to lunch. I'm at work in detectives. Me and my supervisor are out at lunch. We're eating at Wegmans. We're having salads. He had to get a couple things in the store before we had to go back to the office. And so he's walking up the aisles, and all of a sudden I got hit with chest pains, couldn't breathe. I tell him, I said, hey, I think I'm having a heart attack. He goes, what? I'm 34 years old. Great shape. So he drives me to the ER. They actually admit me overnight. My wife's texting me, guys at work are texting me, hey, everything all right? They do all these tests, and the doctor comes in the next day. He's like, hey, son, everything looks great. You're in great bill of health, great shape. I said, well, doc, what happened? He's like, do you ever think it's anxiety? And I remember saying, anxiety? No, I don't have anxiety. Like I couldn't admit it because I thought that was a weakness, or no, I don't have anxiety. Yeah. I didn't understand it then. And I know there's a lot of people going through it, because we're talking to first responders now, kind of on a more of a larger level around the country, and hearing some of those same stories. I was like, wow. I think the biggest thing is just recognizing what it is. Once you do that and say it out loud, then you can start to put things into place. And I kind of wanted to see, what are some things that, for somebody that is like somebody's watching this, they're experiencing no symptoms, they're not ready to admit they have an anxiety disorder, but they know there's something probably wrong, or they know they have to figure this out. What are some basic things you can recommend to calm them down if they're not ready to do anything more formalized, like therapy or medication or anything like that?
Well, the first thing is recognizing this, like there's something, this seems like it must be anxiety, panic, whatever. The first thing I would say, other than admitting to yourself, don't have to say it to anyone else, but to yourself, be true. You know what? I think this might be, that this is anxiety and panic, and I need to deal with it. The second thing is, once you do that, there's things you can do that I learned in the very beginning. One is, I'm not saying to tell someone to take a deep breath, because that's when you get smacked. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying controlling your breathing at that, when it's hitting that, in through your nose, counting to 5, holding it for 5, breathing out for 5. You can't do 5, do 3, do 4, do whatever you can do to try to bring yourself down. It is not an easy thing, but if you can make a mental, okay, I got to control myself right now. Let me try. Okay, let me breathe through my note like that. The second thing is what my counselor taught me is have a mantra. Mine is, I'm not crazy, and I'm going to get through this. God doesn't give us more than we can bear. And I say the same thing in my head to myself the whole entire time in this time frame where it's hitting. And the third is, if you've got music that doesn't hype you up, but can calm you down. So it has to be calming. Whether it's in your headphones, whether it's writing, whether it's, you need to get out of it, and don't drink caffeine, get off the caffeine. That would be that's in my other number one thing. All you're doing is pouring gas on a flame. If you are anxious and you're already like this, and I've been drinking decaf for years, and it sucks, but I can't do that to myself, because I know where it'll end up. And I'm going to be like, okay, all right, I'm a little wound up right now. How do I get myself down? And I'm not, so figure out what you need to tell yourself. You brought up something very interesting. I have to go back to real quick, and I apologize, but people are going to think less of you, and there's nothing you can do about it from having anxiety and panic. There are just some people who don't get it, that may think that you're weak. I had a boss who said I was weak-minded because I had panic disorder. Now, at the time, that really hurt me, and it did not help me in any way to get better. So when you get to this point, whether it's a spouse, a boss, coworker, you have to know that there's going to be some people that are not going to be on your side, and you cannot let that bring you down. Maybe that's why you keep it to yourself and you just talk to the professional. I just don't want anyone to be in a place where they're not going to get help because they think they are weak. And I will say this every time: when you have anxiety and panic and you get your ass out of bed and you get ready and you face that devil and you walk out that door and you go to your job, you help someone, you fight through that freaking panic attack that you know is coming, and you walk out that door and do your job anyhow, that, my friend, is not weakness. That is stronger than any of those people have any idea. Period. In the story.
You got me fired up here. I'm sorry.
Sorry, but I know the hell that is. I know what that is like. That is strength like no one knows.
So I'm glad you brought this up, because I taught at the police academy yesterday, and I did a whole day of wellness, and we fostered some conversation because there was a couple people in the class that I don't know that they got the whole wellness part. And I was trying to explain to them, I'm not saying you have to be weak-willed. I'm not saying you have to be have a victim mindset. I'm saying these things are real. You would call attention to it. You acknowledge it. You put systems into place, and then you develop your resiliency and you get back out in the fight. You can be tough-minded and have a resilient mindset and be positive, but you also can't bury your head in the sand and say that these things aren't real, or I don't have them, or somebody else doesn't have them, or I'm going to judge somebody else. You can be the most well-rounded person and acknowledge all these things, but also put systems into place to develop a positive mindset to get back out there. And I love how you said that, because that fired me up, because we have to start acknowledging these things are real, but they don't have to also hold us back forever. And you can do both, and you got to put the work in, though.
100%, but you got to be, you're not going to, like, I can say that now where I'm at. I couldn't say that 10 years ago, let's say. I couldn't, because I was letting others dictate what my mental health was, from what I read, from what people said, from like, you're weak-minded, or a parent saying, well, you don't trust Jesus enough because you wouldn't be like that. I've heard it all. Trust me, I have heard it all. And all of it was wrong, because I know what I was personally going through, but I let others guide what I was going to do. So I'm so glad that you gave them that opportunity. There's going to be people that will not understand ever. That's their very, those stoic personalities that show no emotion. They're not going to get it.
One of the things I was telling these guys yesterday, and I think it's applicable to this conversation, is, and it's more trauma based, but I think it helps for being empathetic, is trauma affects us all differently. So for police officers, we can be on the exact same scene, see the exact same thing, smell the same smells, hear the same sounds, and we are going to interpret that situation differently. There's auditory exclusion, size and distance, speed slows down or speeds up for some people. We have memory gaps. Everybody's brain processes it differently. And I think it's the same for anxiety. When we don't recognize that, because you're not anxious in the situation, or you don't have an anxiety disorder, doesn't mean we judge people or put labels on them. We try to put ourselves in their shoes or ask questions, be curious, not judgmental, to understand why they're going through it. Right. Well, my wife, who has anxiety disorder, and I'm so grateful for her, it was the day after Christmas, December 26th. We had some family drama going on that day, and it all caught up with me that night. I'm sitting on my couch. The worst panic attack in the world hit in. I thought I was dying. I literally thought I was dying. I'm in my basement. I run upstairs. Luckily, she has it. She knows exactly what to do. And I try to tell these cadets yesterday. I did tell them, and this is, I think, applicable for everybody, is be positive. Be positive for yourself. Be positive for other people. Remind people around you that maybe experience it, or remind yourself, this is temporary. This will go away. It's going to be okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Like, develop a positive spirit, because that is infectious and rubs off on other people. And that's what she did for me. Babe, you're fine. You're fine. Everything is okay. She actually told me to download the Calm app, and I couldn't. My hands were shaking so much I couldn't even do it. She opened my phone.
There's no coherency at that time. I'm actually surprised, because like, when I'm in that space, I can't talk to people. You better just back off, because it's taking every fiber in my being to just be alive at that moment when I'm in it. Like I need to lick my wounds. And that's how I deal, because I didn't have people around me who understood it. You're very blessed to have a human being in your life that you love, that is able to give you that love that you need and not judge you, because that's very hard to find. And I would assume with a lot of the folks that are police officers, that they have perhaps no one in their life that would understand them and where they're at. And it really breaks my heart. I almost started crying because I know how alone I felt for years, because no one understood. I mean, I was, this is my second marriage, because my first marriage, I was the crazy person, I ruined everything. And I felt so bad that I was the one who was making the issue, if that makes sense. And these guys, these girls, whoever, they just need to know that this is the nature of the beast. This is just part of dealing with it. I can't imagine with what you guys see on a daily basis. And that is mind blowing in itself, and being able to not absorb that to where it affects you. How do you do that? So, I'm glad that you had someone. Each person's going to get into that place and they're going to need help. And I love that you guys are out there knocking on doors and telling the story, because think about if you would have had help in 2014.
Yeah.
Where would you know what I'm saying? Like,
Totally.
if we would have had help in the beginning, we would have tore it up. We would have been helping people all along the way and giving them that hand, that step, that hug, that whatever they need to go, okay, I can do this.
And it really goes to the bigger issue of the stigma in our society, that when I was in the hospital for that one night and the doctor gave me a clean bill of health, which I think I knew in the back of my head, there was nothing wrong with me, but I also didn't want to admit there was an anxiety problem and a disorder there. So we have to just continue to talk about and change our society stigma that, it doesn't mean it's like an illness like anything else. Mental illness or mental health is no different than a physical ailment, and nothing is a life sentence. You can get through it. But my reluctancy to even acknowledge that it could have been anxiety just speaks to the things in our society, how we tell you and paint you these things that they're weaknesses or flaws or there's something wrong with you. And it's, it needs to be changed. So I appreciate you saying that. All right, Cheryl, 5 questions. You ready for this game?
No, but let's do it.
All right, let's do it. We love this segment. We love this segment. We changed it up because we want to get some new questions on there. So,
okay,
all right.
I'm ready.
Favorite vacation destination?
Ooh, Destin, Florida. Been there 3 times. It's drivable from Dallas, where I'm at, which obviously I didn't fly for many years. And love Destin. It's people say it's like Cancun, which I haven't been to, but it's got that crystal white sand. You can see right through the water. It's beautiful.
Is that on the Gulf side?
Yes.
Okay, that's nice.
On the Gulf side, right? And it's like right underneath. Okay, great geography, Jesus. I think it's Georgia or Alabama. One of those are right up there, and it's like right below. It's right below Alabama. Like it's an hour past Pensacola.
Okay, all right. Hopefully the mayor is listening, and he's like, "Hey, thanks, Cheryl."
That's my favorite spot personally. I've not like I've traveled extensively or anything, but love the ocean, the beach, very calming. That's my place.
That's all. Yeah, I'm the same way. Beach is everything for me. So
beach.
Me too.
All right. 2-part question. Favorite musical artist and the first concert you've ever been to?
Okay, I'm embarrassed for part 2.
All right.
Okay, I'm older, so my very first concert was Sean Cassidy, who you probably don't even know. It's David Cassidy's brother.
I do know. My parents are huge music
family. Yeah, thanks for that. Anyhow, that was my first concert in New York with my cousins. I went to Sean Cassidy.
That's awesome.
Favorite music right now, and this has been the past year and a half. I only listen to gospel music because I need all the positive I can get in my head at all times. And that's Cheryl's uplifting thing I do for myself. Love Elevation and Maverick Worship, my 2 favorites. Listen to them the most, but that's me. I like other types of music. Just that's where I'm at right now.
That's awesome. My brother's been getting me into Christian music lately, and I do dig it. So
yeah, I mean, you can. I've been very much in that world right now.
That's awesome. All right, we know you love cars. So what and this might be hard for you to say, what is the favorite car ever manufactured, made? What's your favorite car?
Come on.
Give us two.
Come on. Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm a huge fan of the old Camaros, which, I was talking about. Definitely 67 to 69 Camaro RS or SS. I'd take either one with matching codes. Like everything, would have to match. That means it's all original. And then I would like to redo it. Would love convertible, but let's be honest. That's like the unicorn. You're not going to find it. But I also love old like Ford trucks and Chevy trucks from those 50s, 60s as well. Just those big, boxy, heavy trucks. And they all have to be fast because driving fast is like one of my favorite things to do. And I don't really do it anymore because I've had too many tickets. So I can't anymore. But yeah, love that. The engine, and hearing it just rumble under the hood, and not the little weenie Japanese. I'm talking like real,
I got to add a sub question to that, Chad.
Okay.
Yeah, do it, brother. Do it.
Cheryl, one, being a car guy, I got to add one very important question to that. Automatic or manual?
Oh, okay. Damn, that's another one. I had all brothers, all boy cousins. So again, I'm probably not the right girl to ask, but I'm probably going to say a stick shift because you're controlling the vehicle. It's all up to you, but on a hill, no. A steep hill. Like I've been in, Pittsburgh area before, and they're like this. Like you ride the emergency brake, to go up the hill because there's no way you're going to make it. But yeah, either one. You know what? If someone offered me, I'm not going to say no because it's not a stick. I'm like, I'll take it. Automatics are good. So that's
awesome.
that.
That's awesome. All right, we have another two-part question for you. Question 4. This is, I want to see how fast you can do this. We know you love dogs. So how many dogs have you had in your life? And can you name them all, their names as quickly as you can?
I can, because just because I love dogs doesn't mean other people in my life love dogs. So first dog, Max, loved her, had her for 16 years. Second dog, Scooter. Third dog, Max Part 2. And now I have Molly, which is an American Bulldog I've had for 11 years. And then I rescued another dog, a little itty bitty thing 5 years ago from a puppy mill, because people can't ask me, hey, can you help me? I found this dog. Because then I'm like, damn it, because then I have to take it. But 2 at one time is the most I've had. I can't do more than that. I've also had bunnies and other fish and other things the kids bring home. But I do not do reptiles. Let me be very clear.
No snakes for you?
Not do reptiles. I'm sorry. They belong outside. I'm still a city girl.
That's good. All right, last question. Saturday night, you have nothing going on. I love these questions because we all are at home more than we are as we get older. So I always love these questions. Saturday night, you have nothing going on. What meal are you cooking? You can't go out and you can't order in. What meal are you cooking, and then what are you doing after dinner?
Okay, I'm Sicilian, so I'm cooking something pasta based. It's just gonna happen, but probably chicken cutlets and some marinara with some pasta, whether it be regular old spaghetti, whatever. Definitely cooking something like that. And what am I doing after? I'm competitive and I like games, so that could be Mario Party, and yes, I play that. I'm Princess Peach. That's my girl. Or it could be like a board game to dance party on what I'm saying. So
that is hilarious. I was just playing Mario Party a couple weeks ago with my 10-year-old, 9-year-old, and 5-year-old.
I'm not going to tell you.
When you said that, it was hilarious. It was like I'm trying to picture Cheryl at home doing Mario Party.
My 25-year-old calls me, goes, "Ma, you got to come over. I got Mario Party." And I'm like, I'm in. Let's do it.
So good.
So, he's married, went to his apartment, and the 4 of us played Mario Party, and it's long game, as you know. It's not a short game because there's levels, but yeah, I'm competitive. Don't, I'm going to win. I'm not going to just play. So yeah.
I love it. She's got fire. Cheryl, 5 questions. You did awesome. Thank you so much.
Cheryl, I always throw in my question before we wrap up. Number one book recommendation.
Holes. Right now, I have one book that I recommend, and I don't know if I could do it with my my filter I have on.
Oh, look at that.
And mine's autographed.
Ooh. Ernie's a good man.
I really like Ernie's new book. But any book, to be perfectly honest, that gives you insight to what it's like battling mental health, but not going to put you in a depressed state. But that's informative and can help you. But I do a lot of Audible because when I'm reading, I get a little distracted. I'm sure you're not surprised. But so been reading another book called Get Out of Your Head. It's been very good, talking about how that's a scary place up there for a lot of people. And just kind of learning to get out of my own head and move forward has been helpful. But yes, thank you for asking that. That's another good one.
Well, Cheryl, I want to thank you so much for taking the time and coming on the show this morning. I absolutely love the conversation. And I mean, just some of the things that you mentioned and we talked about, I have no doubt that there's going to be a minimum of one police officer who takes action to take the steps forward and start to heal just from listening to this show.
I love you guys and thank you for inviting me. I just want to say one thing. Include my email, social, whatever. I'm always here to answer questions. If they don't understand something, they feel something, I am an open book, and I just want to help people. So if I can be of help to any of your listeners, I'm here.
Since you mentioned that, I almost forgot, Cheryl. How can our listeners connect with you, and where can we find Panic Aid?
Okay. Question A, I go by Cheryl Panics on all social media, all outlets. I go by Cheryl Panics. My email, cherylpanics@gmail.com. Again, very easy. Anxiety Aid is the name for all the products now. We're going through a little change right now, which Chad, you didn't know. So Anxiety Aid is currently only on our website, but that's going to be changing soon. But Anxiety Aid with an E, AIDE.com is where you can find our products. And if you searched it, you'll find it. We come up pretty quickly. And you know what? If you don't believe our word for it, I always say read all the reviews, because trust me, they'll tell you their story.
Awesome.
I've used it. Buy it. It will help you.
It's you know what? If for some odd reason it doesn't, let me know and I'll send you your money back. And in 2.5 years, I've returned one product. And they were on heavy, like Klonopin and Xanax and some other things. And when you're drugged out like that all day, I don't know that I can help you.
Yeah. Sure. I want to say one thing, because you made me just realize this about, you said reaching out to you. If you're a first responder, and I'm basically talking to my younger self, you're sitting there, maybe in your car, your ambulance, your fire truck, whatever you're in, you're feeling anxious, but you don't know what it is. You're not ready to acknowledge if it's anxiety, but you have questions. You have enough self-awareness to at least ask a question, but you're afraid because of the stigma. And you want to reach out to Cheryl anonymously or confidentially and just say, hey, I have a question. Like, just taking that first step can change your life completely. So reach out to Cheryl and ask her questions. Seriously,
I'm a neutral party, and I will never judge you for it, because I went through that a big part of my life. Strict New York upbringing, Italian, and no one has mental health issues, even if they do. That was shunned upon. So I am 100%. I mean, I'm going to support you, answer your questions, and encourage you to get your life back.
Awesome. I love it.
Seriously.
Thank you, Cheryl, so much. We really appreciate having you on.
I enjoyed it so much. You guys gave me some of my life back. I've missed doing shows and talking to people. So thank you. And
you're welcome. You're welcome. And Ryan's right. You are going to someone's going to watch us, and you're going to help them change.
I hope so. I hope so, because it's a sad place to be when you're in your own head with no one giving you a lifeline.
Right.
So.
Thank you, Cheryl. All the best to you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Bye, guys.